Hello, I'm Jill Urbach, and in this Christmas season, I am reviewing all of Hallmark Channel's movies in their countdown to Christmas. Today we're talking about A Timeless Christmas, and I have a thing or two to say. If you're in a hurry, you can just skip to the end to my overall rating, and you'll see the little treat I have for you all at the end. I will be talking about 7 elements of this movie. I'll be talking about the meet cute, going through my Hallmark Christmas movie checklist, my favorite secondary characters, the wardrobe in the movie, the many nitpicks I have, the things I think are noteworthy, and where it falls on my personal heartstring meter. Let's get started. Here's the plot of A Timeless Christmas. Charles Whitley travels from 1903 to 2020, where he meets Megan Turner and experiences a 21st century Christmas. Our 2 stars are Erin Cahill and Ryan Paevey. Erin plays Megan Turner, and Megan is a museum director. She loves her job. This is a living history museum, and the museum was originally the house of Charles, and Megan actually did her dissertation for her PhD on Charles Whitley. Ryan Paevey plays Charles Whitley, who arrives from 1903, where he's a wealthy engineer in a loveless engagement. Okay, our meet cute. It's not really a meet cute in this movie. It works for the plot, but Megan runs this living history museum, and so when they give tours, she plays the part of Rose the maid. When Charles shows up from 1903, he storms down the stairs and is demanding to know why all these people are in his house, because he doesn't know he's in the future. And there's so much confusion with, who is he? And they think he's an actor playing the part, and he's confused that you never actually get a meet cute where there's this noticeable attraction or electricity between the 2 main characters. Before the movie, I was excited to go through my checklist because I was finally going to be able to cross off time travel as an element. And if you don't have my unofficial Hallmark Christmas movie checklist, you can click the link below in the description and download your own free copy. So my checklist is developed from elements you find in many Hallmark movies and the guidelines from Hallmark Publishing's website. First and foremost, snowing locale. Yes, this was New York. Definitely a snowy locale. Hallmark likes those. Traditional Christmas activities. I'm not going to even go through this whole list because the only one that was in this movie is enjoying a cozy hot drink. And then for the community events, they did have carol singing, a tree lighting, fundraiser, and a dressy holiday event. And then, as I mentioned, I was able to check off time travel in this one. Now, it's not necessarily a bad thing that this movie didn't have all the traditional Hallmark elements. It was a very unique story and still very much a Christmas romance. But just because it was different doesn't mean it was better. Let's talk about my favorite secondary characters. I enjoyed the character of Kenny, who was the co-director of the museum. He was played by Nelson Wong, and his character was definitely over the top, but I enjoyed the portrayal of the uptight director who just had to make sure everything ran perfectly. And then there's the woman at the university when Jess went to go interview for the job. And this is what I love about so many of the small, one-liner characters in Hallmark movies, is they really have the opportunity to just steal their scene. And this woman did for me. First of all, she had this kind of, husky, gravelly voice. This woman and Megan are talking about this antique clock that she says supposedly helps whoever winds it to find love. And then she makes this dry comment, "I've wound this clock every week for years. Nothing." And it just cracked me up. Okay, the wardrobe in the movie, and this is a movie where a lot of the costumes are from 1903, so it'd be easy to get them wrong. And I'm not talking about them from the perspective of somebody who knows what costumes from 1903 should look like. I'm just talking from the perspective of somebody who wants the costumes not to look stupid, who wants them to fit and not look like they just borrowed them from someone's community theater costume shop with no alterations. They did not. These costumes actually looked quite nice, especially Charles's. I enjoyed both Charles Whitley's 1903 clothes and his modern clothes. His modern clothes still kept a classic feel that you would expect from this type of character. And I am not, as I said, an expert on costumes from 1903, but his costumes fit well and looked good. In fact, if you stick around, I'll end this video with some Ryan Paevey eye candy. I mean, a slideshow of his wonderful costumes. Megan had an apron on when they were doing a tasting before the Christmas Eve party. I just enjoyed it. It was classy, but obviously very festive. It was red with these giant poinsettias all over it, and I enjoyed the apron. Did you say poinsettia or poinsettia? Megan also had this wonderful red coat with a big shawl collar, and then she accessorized it with this white and red window pane scarf. And then Megan and her co-worker Amber's Christmas at the Christmas Eve party. Amber plays the part of Charles's fiance from 1903. So her dress is very high class, and it was beautiful from both the front and the back. Again, do I know if it's appropriate period? I don't know, but it looked pretty. And then Megan's was a totally different style. Megan's also was beautiful, but it was all lacy and delicate. Okay, nitpicks to keep it real, and I have so many on this movie. I love Hallmark movies, so I don't watch them looking for things to gripe about. But I got a lot of gripes on this one. At the beginning of the movie, Charles's maid Rose was way too familiar. If we have learned anything from watching Downton Abbey, it's that the servants know their place and they don't come in and offer their advice on the master's love life. That being said, that relationship does play into the rest of the movie, and so I guess they made it work. But I really don't like it when you have a movie that has characters in a certain time period and they act inappropriately for that time period. Okay, when the clock that I talked about earlier, it's from 1903, and when it goes berserk and causes the time travel, let's just say it reminded me that Hallmark is not known for its special effects. Once Charles is in 2020, the first time he comes out of the house and he's noticing like cars and things that are different, this commercial jet flies over the house and he's amazed. It's fine that he noticed the plane, but I guess they wanted so much to make sure that we didn't miss it, that plane was so low. It was kind of ridiculous. Although the overall storyline of this movie worked, there was some awkward writing and some things that they had characters say that sometimes were just downright dumb. Other times they didn't quite work. There was one point where Megan's character is going through the kitchen and she sees this plate of beautiful cookies, Christmas trees, frosted, already have the sprinkles on top. Like when the cookies are already to that point, they're done, right? And she says, these cookies need a little more icing. And it just came across as really kind of snotty and didn't fit with her character. At another point in the movie, Megan has brought Charles home to her house, and Megan had a messy breakup 6 months ago where her long-term boyfriend left her for another woman. So you would think when she brought a new guy to the house for the first time that her brothers especially would want to know who he was and make sure they had his name. Well, then later that same night, one of the brothers comes over to him and says, "You, my sister's friend." Like, wouldn't he have taken the time to know his name? Oh, and while we're still talking about family night at the parents' house, so when Charles and Megan come over and the whole family's there, there's like 15 of them, and everybody all as one turn and say, "Merry Christmas!" Almost as stiff as that, like all together. If you go to your family and everybody's there, are they all at the same time going to say the exact same thing? Or might a few people say Merry Christmas, some people will say, "Hey," some people will say, "You're late," some people will say, "Hey, grab the wine on your way over," right? It was just so stiff and awkward to watch. Okay, only two more. This clock that plays a big part in the movie. At one point, they're looking for it. So this clock is a good size antique clock, and they're looking for it in Charles's office in the mansion. And there's all these bookshelves with glass-fronted doors, and they're full of books. The books, like, there's no space between the books, and there's only maybe this much space between the end of the book and the door. And Megan opens the doors and is looking all over for the clock. This giant clock that couldn't possibly fit in this bookcase full of books. At the end of the movie, Charles makes a speech at the Christmas Eve party, and when he's brought onto the stage, there's a microphone on a stand, and he goes right up to it, and he knows exactly how to use it, how far to be from it. He even reaches down and knows exactly where he would hold it if he were going to adjust it. Maybe we just missed the rehearsal scene where they showed him exactly how to use the mic, but I doubt it. That's all I'm gonna nitpick on the film. I could go on. There were some noteworthy things though. The two leads, their acting was great. And that says a lot because you're watching them the whole time. So I can put up with some of the other silly stuff if my two leads are acting well. Erin Cahill has just a very expressive face, and she knows how to emote. Like, you can see the feelings come through and play across her face, and it's not like she's overworking her face and trying too hard. It's just she's truly feeling it. And as for Ryan Paevey, he did a great job as well. One moment that I thought was sweet was his first night in 2020, and he's sitting on the bed in his room. You know, there's a big giant TV screen. Nothing is familiar to him, and he just looks lost. And then some of his reactions to unfamiliar things from this different century, like they've just had pizza and he offers to pay for the bill, and he gets the bill and he looks, $23, that's highway robbery. He yells it across the restaurant, and it was pretty funny. And then one of my favorite things in the whole movie was the rendition of I'll Be Home for Christmas that was playing as Charles was walking through the street after he left Megan's house. And that rendition was sung by Brett Eldridge, so shout out to Brett Eldridge. That was a great rendition. I enjoyed it. Okay, my Heartstring Meter. Heartstring Meter is just, how did this movie make me feel, like, physically? Like, did I tear up? Did I just, have this warmth in my heart? So on a scale of 0 to 5, this movie gets a 1. Like the woman at the university said, nothing. So my overall rating on this movie is a 3. It's your average Hallmark movie. If you enjoy time travel elements or old-fashioned costumes, you might enjoy this movie. But if you don't have time to get through all 40 of the new Hallmark Channel Christmas movies this year, I'd skip this one for now. And now, as promised, I would like to share what saved this movie for me. Enjoy.